Why does this keep happening to my plant? They're well watered, leaves are bright yellow, and just the right amount of brown. It looks like the roots are rotting away though. It's time to get to the bottom of this. Hey, it's Andrew here from Growin. Welcome to the Digging Deeper series where we explore what lays deep beneath our feet. Today we'll be deep diving into why plant roots rot away. So let's get right into it. Spotting root rot can be a tricky task, and it's often too late when you do. Signs of root rot can include slow growth, mushy stems, or wilted, yellow, or twisted leaves. If your plant is well watered but still have wilting leaves, it might have root rot. Your plants have many different root structures and they come in many different shapes, sizes, from long taproots to shallow fibrous roots. They also have specialized functions like storing water or fixing nitrogen. How does root rot start in the first place? There are a few common causes to look out for: a lack of oxygen due to poor drainage, or infection. The most common infections are Pythium, Phytophthora, and Actinomyces. When plants get root rot, they become weak, don't grow well, turn yellow, might droop, die back, or lose some leaves altogether. Let's take a closer look to see what's actually happening with these plant roots and why they could be rotting away. All indoor and outdoor plants have a layer of protective skin, just like us. The outermost layer transports water, nutrients, and oxygen soaked up through the epidermis. Once that layer is infected, the roots will begin to decay and die. The unprotected inner layer is now vulnerable to this infection and will also begin its slow journey to melting away. Plants inside your home can get root rot more easily than those outside because the soil can trap water in the pot it's housed in. If this starts to develop, then there's a high chance that a lack of oxygen, poor drainage, and overwatering is the cause. You can also run into other issues like fungus gnats. Fungus gnats are prolific egg layers. They will lay hundreds of eggs that will develop into voracious larvae. These larvae will feed on decaying organic matter and fungi, contributing to their rapid population growth. As they mature, fungus gnats can spread infections by transporting pathogenic spores on their tiny legs, which can colonize other plants that share the same soil conditions for pathogen growth. Some fungus gnats can actually bite you, so it's best to quarantine your plants as soon as possible to stop the spread of these little suckers. Below the soil, roots that are rotting can be identified by seeing soft, brown, or mushy roots. You might even experience a bad smell of rotting. Healthy roots should be light green, white, or tan, succulent, numerous, and long enough to hold the soil in place, the shape of the pot they're growing in. Now the good news is, if you catch it early, there is a way to reverse the damage and bring those healthy roots back. Treatment. There's a few things we can do to treat root rot. Take the plant out of its pot and remove as much soil as you can. Look at the roots and leaves and see what parts are actually rotting. Healthy roots are white and firm, but rotting roots are brown, soft, and stringy. 2. Use sharp sterile scissors or shears to carefully cut away the parts of the roots and leaves that are rotting. Be gentle not to hurt the healthy parts. Only take off the dead, rotted roots, leaving as much of the white tan roots as possible. 3. Soak the remaining healthy roots in a solution of 1:1 equal parts of water and hydrogen peroxide at 3%. You will notice small bubbles sterilizing the roots and disinfecting anything that remains. It essentially oxidizes and kills off pathogens and bad bacteria. Do this for 2 minutes, making sure all the remaining roots have been soaked well. 4. Place your plant in water while you get the soil prepared. Note, if you have very little or no roots left, keep watching as this is coming up next. 5. Now it's time to put the plant in some fresh soil. Choose a pot with a few holes at the bottom for water to drain out. Carefully take the healthy roots, cover them entirely with soil that drains well. Use specific soil tailored to your plant. Potted plants need lighter soil that keeps it from getting too compacted. It's also worth mentioning that knowing where your plant's native habitat is, an environment, or where it originates from will give you a good idea of what composition your soil should be. Now, if you have very few roots, it's worth trying to propagate new roots. We can use a natural rooting gel to help stimulate the growth of new roots. A good natural rooting gel is aloe vera, and it works well as a rooting hormone for plant root recovery, treatment, and new cuttings. Aloe vera has antibacterial and antifungal properties that can help protect the new roots from pathogens. Here's what to do if you have very few roots. 1. Dip your plant stem into aloe vera gel with an even covering of the base of your plant. 2. Prepare your soil on the side where you want to pot up by pre-moistening it to help reduce any further moisture loss to the base of your plant. 3. Take your plant and gently work the new pre-moistened soil around it. Select a pot with a number of holes to ensure water drains out well. 4. place it in a warm, shady spot out of direct sunlight. Now what do you do with your old potting soil? The old potting soil will need to be sterilized by either drying it out in the hot sun or using hot boiling water. That is, if you intend to use it in the future. Prevention. How can we prevent this from happening again? To prevent root rot happening in the future, there's some simple steps to follow. Maintain the right pH, keeping the pH level of your soil between 5.5 and 6.5, but make sure to check what your plant prefers, because different plants have different needs. Most plants thrive within this pH range. Avoid overfeeding. Giving your plants too much food too often. Overfeeding can actually hurt your plant's roots by burning them. Be cautious about how much and how often you feed them. There is of course a natural preventative like cinnamon. Using cinnamon to prevent root rot is a great natural remedy. Cinnamon acts as a natural fungicide, keeps pests away, and stimulates root growth. Hydrogen peroxide. It's good to keep a 3% hydrogen peroxide solution on hand and mix it with an equal part of water at 1:1. This can be a good way to protect your plants from future infections. Visual inspection. Regularly check your plant's roots to see how they're going and if it's time to move them to a bigger pot. Healthy roots and soil should have a pleasant smell. If you notice a bad smell, rotting smells, you know that something is wrong and needs your attention. Keeping your plant roots healthy is an essential part to any indoor or outdoor garden. If you'd like to see more on this series, stick around, turn those notifications on. Bye for now, happy growing.